You know that feeling, right? You hear a weird noise from the basement or you see a dark spot spreading on the ceiling. And then that awful squish under your feet. It can happen in an instant. Water damage is one of those home disasters we all hope to never, ever face. But, knowing what to do when it strikes is absolutely crucial. So let me ask you something. When you think about the biggest, most expensive disaster your home could possibly face, what's the first image that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably the same thing. But here's the twist. It's probably not what you're thinking. While a fire is, of course, terrifying, there's a much more common, kind of sneaky threat that could be lurking inside your walls right now. Yep, it's water. From a burst pipe to a leaky appliance, water damage is this silent destroyer. It can cause massive structural problems, not to mention health issues, if it's not handled the right way and fast. So today, we're going to walk through the whole thing from the second the disaster starts to the very end when your home is back to normal. We'll cover the initial shock, what to do in that critical first hour, the actual science of drying a house out, the headache of insurance, and really importantly, why trying to DIY this is a huge mistake. Okay, let's start at the beginning. You've just found water where it absolutely should not be. Your heart starts racing. But where on earth did it even come from? Well, the culprits are often hiding in plain sight. It could be a frozen pipe that finally gives way when it thaws, or that little supply line to your ice maker decides today's the day. Maybe your sump pump fails during a huge storm. And in older homes, it could even be your old cast iron drain pipes just failing from the inside out. And a lot of the time, the problem doesn't start with a huge flood. It starts with these little clues. Maybe you notice your hardwood floors are starting to warp a little bit, or the paint is peeling right above the baseboards, and that musty smell you just can't track down. Oh yeah, that is a massive red flag that you've got hidden moisture somewhere. So the second you know there's a problem, the clock starts ticking, and I mean really ticking. What you do in the next 60 minutes can be the difference between a manageable cleanup and a full-blown catastrophe. So what actually happens when you make that frantic call? Well, a professional team clicks into action like a well-oiled machine. First, they get a crew on the road, like immediately. Once they're there, they figure out how bad it is, start sucking up all that standing water, and get their industrial strength drying gear set up. It's a very precise, very fast operation. And why all the rush? Well, the best companies aim to be at your door in an hour or less. That's because mold can start growing in just 24 to 48 hours, and all that water is just soaking deeper into your drywall, your insulation, your subfloors. Speed is absolutely everything. Okay, this is where things get really interesting, because getting a house properly dry isn't just about pointing a few fans at a wet spot. It's a real science. And there are two key words you have got to know: mitigation and restoration. Mitigation and restoration. Just think of it like this. Mitigation is the emergency first aid. It's stopping the bleed, getting the water out, and making sure the damage doesn't spread. Restoration? That's the full recovery. That's the deep drying, the cleaning and sanitizing, and then rebuilding everything to make your home whole again. And get this, pros don't treat all water the same. They actually classify it. Category 1 is clean water, like from a broken supply pipe. Category 2 is gray water, which might come from a dishwasher and has some gunk in it. And then there's Category 3, black water. Think sewage or floodwater. That stuff's a serious health hazard, and the category it falls into completely changes the cleanup plan. And this whole process, it's not just guesswork. Any reputable company follows a strict playbook called the ICRC S500 standard. You can think of it as the gold standard, the official rulebook for water damage. It lays out exactly how to get the water out and, more importantly, how to use special tools to prove a structure is scientifically completely dry. All right, so the water's out, the drying equipment is humming away, but now comes the part that everybody dreads: the cost, the insurance claim, and the long road to getting things repaired. This is another place where the pros are worth their weight in gold. They don't just dry your house. They basically manage the insurance claim for you. They give the adjuster all the photos, all the moisture readings, they talk directly to the insurance company, and a lot of times they bill them directly. It just takes a massive weight off your shoulders. So what are we looking at timeline-wise? Well, day 1 is all about the emergency. Then, for the next 3 to 5 days, you've got the structural drying phase. That's when all the loud fans and dehumidifiers are running. And only after they've confirmed everything is totally dry can the actual rebuilding and repairs even begin. And all of this brings us to what might be the most important question of all. Because after hearing about this whole process, you might be thinking, hey, can I just go rent some big fans, use my shop vac, and, save a few bucks? It's a really tempting thought, but the risks are they're huge. See, here's the deal. A DIY cleanup almost always leaves behind hidden moisture that gets trapped inside your walls or underneath your floors. Your shop vac just isn't designed to do what professional equipment can. And that little oversight, it can lead to mold, it can lead to structural rot, and this is a big one. It could even cause your insurance company to deny your claim because it wasn't handled properly. In the end, it really just boils down to this. The money you spend on a professional restoration company right now is almost always way, way less than what it would cost to replace rotted floor joists or deal with a huge toxic mold problem a year from now. It's a direct investment in your home's health and your family's safety. And that's the real goal, right? Not just a house that looks dry on the surface, but one that is dry, top to bottom, safe, and brought all the way back to how it was before the disaster ever happened. It's really about buying peace of mind. So we've walked through what happens inside your own four walls. But let me leave you with one final thought. What happens when water doesn't care about property lines? If a pipe bursts in an apartment or a condo, who's on the hook for the damage to the unit downstairs or next door? Now that is a whole other can of worms.